We're here. We're podcasting.
We are.
Brianna, James, just bow disciples,
Yes,
plural.
sir. Yep.
What is a disciple?
That's James, you got that.
Yeah, so the story of the name actually is pretty funny. Is we started the channel 6 years ago, me and my buddy Nick. And Nick actually kind of came up with the name because we would always make a joke and we would call ourselves Team BD, like Team Big Dick, right? And one day his girlfriend's like, you know I know what that means. And he goes, what, bow disciples? And I go, I love it, dude. So when we needed a name,
Yep.
that was the name.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
I like it. Then you guys are a couple. How long have you guys been together?
4.
Going on 4. Yeah, it'll be 4 in September.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How did you meet?
She found me on YouTube. I'm living
Yeah.
the dream, you know.
So I'm soon to be out of the Navy, but I come from Florida, raised there. Navy says you're going to California. So, me from my red state, I'm like, I'm never going to hunt again. I packed the bow up and put it under the bed and moved and said, well, let me try and find a way back into it and see if it's possible. Lo and behold, there's a huge hunting community in California and archery community. But so you get on YouTube, you're just trying to start learning. And this fine gentleman comes across. And so I think it was just like a follow on Instagram. And then, of course, James slides into the DMs with just like a little wavy hand. And I just was like, I'm trying to learn any advice for, being out here and whatnot. And then it just, flourished from there in a Padres game later. And, here we are.
Here we are.
Well, that's kind of cool. So where are you from exactly?
I'm from Central Florida. I'm about an hour north of Orlando, like the middle of nowhere, Florida. You think beaches, just think like black bears and pine trees. And that's more my area.
I like it.
Yeah.
That is. So have you been back, met the folks and all that jazz?
Yeah, I have. And we're going out actually again in July, and we're going to do what is it, more like some fishing stuff or scalloping?
Yeah, so have you ever been bow fishing?
No, I haven't.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to take him bow fishing. I don't think it's time yet though when we're going, but I'd like to take him gator hunting at some point in life because he's never experienced. He saw his first wild gator last year. Yeah. He'd never seen one.
No, thank you.
It's wild, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you just fish him, like you're reeling a gator in, and he's live, and he eventually gets tired, and then you just boom in the head, and that's life. You can shoot him with a bow too. We always used bang sticks.
I think I know what James is going to do.
Got to do the bow. That's right.
Yeah.
Hannah was here, like you guys were talking about before we rolled, and she pulled back one of my bows. I thought she was going to derail it without a release on, and it's a 76-pound bow. She pulled it back.
She's a strong lady.
I was like, holy crap. How'd you get so strong? And she said, bow fishing. You pull that bow back so many times in a day. So I have not done it either. I think that would be cool to see.
And it's very different, like your view is altered because of the water. So you have to make up for that in where you're aiming. It's not the same at all.
Do you aim high or low?
God, I'm going to forget because it's been so long. I believe it's low for the refraction of the water, but I could have that exactly the opposite. And then, it's not like where you wait for an animal to stand still. The fish don't sit still unless you're saltwater bow fishing, in which case you go for the flounder and stingray all day long. They give you a nice flat surface to look at.
Dude, that sounds like a riot.
It does
you
sound
need to
fun.
go film that. That'll be really cool.
We're going to, yeah. And then I know a couple other people that do it as well, so I'm sure we'll do it one time and then hopefully some other time. Because I think not only is it super fun to go do, but I think it's, like you said, good content as well.
I think there's a crowd that would dig it. I would dig it, and I've never done it. I just like to see it, learn more. You, sir, are born and bred California boy?
Yeah, from a little town called Ramona. But my dad, he's been a hunter since the 70s and a bow hunter real early. I mean, like when guys were shooting the Oneida Screaming Eagle,
Mm-hmm.
And so I got into bow hunting as like a toddler. I was hunting rabbits and stuff. And I shot my first rabbit when I was 5 years old with a bow. And then, just always been a hunter ever since, know. And my favorite type of hunting is like spot and stalk mule deer hunting or coos deer hunting out in desert terrain. That's my all-time favorite. But I love hunting anything, timber, whatever. I like I pride myself on being a well-rounded hunter. I think you
That's
can
good.
kind of drop me anywhere and I'll be pretty proficient for the most part because I've hunted a lot of different stuff because I've done it a long time, you know, sort of like you, I think.
I don't know if I've done a ton of desert, but I do like open country.
Yeah.
I do not like timbered country. I've done, like, if you looked
tough.
around and see how many trees are here,
Yeah.
I'm over it. I've done it.
Yeah.
I like that open desert, which California. So there's a buddy I have down there, Marlon Holden.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. And I know he hunts California still quite a bit. And I've hunted California, like more like blacktail.
Yeah.
And beautiful country.
Coastal stuff.
Coastal.
Yeah.
What about down by San Diego? Isn't there some desert type stuff in there?
Yeah. Yeah, there is. There's a few units that are pretty good, but really California, I would say, is marginal hunting for a lot of stuff. I mean, it's phenomenal for elk and sheep, but it's really, really tough to get tags. For deer, there are some really good units, but the ones you can get every year are, they're not great. So I prefer to try to go to Arizona or New Mexico or Nevada or, different places like that. But I'll still hunt local.
Do you bear hunt at all in California?
I never have, but
I wish you would.
I'm going to take her next
I
year.
feel like wherever, we'll talk after the pod, but wherever I was in California, I saw more bears than deer.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was like August, and I think it was open.
Wow.
It was
There was a guy
insane.
who just reached out. He was saying he's chatted with him a bunch on Instagram who said the same thing where he hunts deer. He won't go in unless he's got a deer tag because it's so overpopulated with bear. So I was like, well, he said, come on up and I'll,
I bet
put you in the area.
You could probably spot and stock pound some bears.
Yeah.
And there's some big ones.
Which would be fun. Yeah, California has huge black bears.
Yeah.
So that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, I never have bear hunted, but I had an elk hunt in New Mexico one time. I saw a lot of bears, and it was over the counter, so I could have gone and got a tag and shot a bear, but I was focused on elk hunting, obviously.
Yeah.
But I wanted to actually ask you one thing, not to take over the pod, but
Do it. Take over.
I saw you did a video, and I did not watch it, but I saw the title and the thumbnail about tree stand hunting elk. And I would love to talk about that because I think that is an excellent way to hunt elk, especially on rough over-the-counter type hunts that are brutal. I think that's the best way, one of the best ways to do it because so many people won't.
I think it's a great idea too, but to do what I did required me to go to that place in the summer and hike in a tree stand. And it wasn't like an easy hike. It was a pretty bad hike, a lot of elevation gain, and it was hot, and it was kind of an arid area, and I was hunting over like this tiny source of water, and it was kind of year to year. Like if we had a lot of wet summer, the elk would not be using that.
Right.
But that particular year, not a lot of rain, and the cameras were hot. And so we hiked in the tree stand and got it all set up, and then I hunted it for a few days, and I had encounters every sit.
That's great.
And I got greedy. I had a couple of bigger 6s on camera, and I passed on some nice 5s or whatever. Then ended up killing a 5x5 in Idaho anyways.
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks later. So I could have been done early. I like it, James, but I definitely would not do tree stands. What I would do is saddles.
Saddles, right.
Yeah. And I've started working with a company called Latitude because I told them I want to punch the clock in a saddle on any elk hunt where most people are like, it's downtime, you're taking a nap. Maybe you're by the herd, but there's nothing you can do. You don't want to bump them, get in the bedroom, which I like to play it pretty safe on elk. Find a pinch point, find a wallow, and you can go up any tree. So I'm going to carry a lightweight Latitude system with me when I elk hunt from now on.
Genius.
But we talked about this.
I agree, dude.
This past year, because we've never sat in one, never tried one. And from Florida, you always sit climbers, and he's always put up tree stands. And I was like, why don't we try this? Because like there are times when, especially because he'll go out for long periods of time. And so it's like, well, then we got to move the tree stand, or we got to go hang an extra
It's such
one.
a commitment once you have the stand up. And like you said,
You're dedicated to that spot now.
yeah. And when you're elk hunting, like, a lot of these places are very remote. So like you said, you're hiking it in, and once it's up, it takes a lot of effort to
But
cut
you got to
your
get it
lanes,
out,
and you got to get it out. And
which a lot of times you're like, F it.
Yeah.
I'll leave it up, which is, I don't think you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, saddles is where it's at. I probably never, I hate to say never, but I don't see me using a tree stand ever again. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then the freedom to change because of the prevailing wind. It's just, because usually when you have a set tree stand and you have a bad wind, you're not going to hunt it. Well, if you have the saddle, you can make different moves.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't weigh much.
That's the thing. I feel like it gives you a lot more freedom. One, the weight, but two, like you said, you could just say you're bubble hunting a herd and you don't get quite close enough, and then they bed up. Rather than hike back to camp and hit lunch and a nap, you could just
Yeah, you could slither into a pinch.
For sure.
And I mean, those herd bulls oftentimes will go get water or go make a rub near the cows.
Yeah.
But only when they're bedded and they're comfortably bedded. Yeah, I agree.
I think that's
cool.
a good way to go, dude.
Yeah, elk hunting. So you've elk hunted how many seasons or?
A lot. So I shot my first bull with a bow in 2006. And
Okay, you've been at it for a while.
Yeah, but then
Were you 14?
I was like, yeah, something like that. Yeah. So yeah. But I think I was probably shooting like 50 pounds at the time. Pass through, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
With a muzzy. Remember the muzzies with the screw-on cap back? And that's such a good tip, dude.
Absolutely.
But but then I didn't elk hunt again for quite a while. And then I shot one in 2018, 19, 20, 22, and 23. And then I didn't have elk tag in 21 or 24. So I've gone 5 in a row on
That's
bulls.
incredible.
Yeah, and 3 of them were over the counter.
Oh, that's really good, man.
6x6, a bigger 5x5, and a smaller 5x5. But all like good, nice bulls on those.
Isn't
over
it
the
nice
counter.
having elk in the freezer?
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, we eat wild game meat basically every day. That's been something we're really working on as a goal this year is to get through the entire freezer. And dude,
we ended up having to buy another freezer because we were just between the two of us now together, we had no room. And so now we're like, no, we need to focus on, there's no go and buy steaks today. We'll make some elk steaks or whatnot. And James, to be fair, goes through a lot more of it than I do. He's a breakfast, lunch, dinner.
He's a growing boy.
I love ground, good quality ground. But, I actually think my favorite wild game meat that I've had, and I've had a lot of different species, fortunately, but I think that early season deer, whether it's mule deer, coos deer, but the best I've ever had is an early season coastal blacktail deer.
Oh,
phenomenal eating.
Yep,
phenomenal.
I'm gonna agree with that. That's
yeah.
I've done that. What's your plan? Are you gonna re-enlist?
No. I did. It'll be going on 6 years, and that is enough for me. It's a wild story, which I said I would tell once I've signed the dotted line on being out.
Fair.
So we're waiting till then before because I've had a couple people ask I'll talk about it on a podcast. And I said, well, I'm gonna wait till legally I should. So no, I'm gonna be done. They're supposed to be done end of January. They dragged their feet on the paperwork. So we're still in, but should be done by March. And then we're kind of up in the air because what I do is essentially public affairs for the Navy. So marketing, media, engagement, all that fun stuff, which is what I just do for him.
Okay. Can you do that for me too?
So we're slowly getting to, not slowly really, hoping by the end of this year, essentially I'll come on as an employee of Bow Disciples, which, sometimes people give the comment don't mix family and work, but I think we do an exceptional job of balancing it because in YouTube and content creation, it's a little different because a lot of what you do for work is still fun and it's both of our passions and hobbies. So we don't get as tense working. We get more tense hunting together than we do working together.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, it's very different. So, and we have very different personalities when hunting, as far as what we need from one another. So that's probably where it's the worst. But goal is by the end of this year, hopefully, to just come on for there. It's kind of what are we going to do in the interim? Because if I find a job I really like, do I stay? The only way I think I will is if it's a fully remote job with a flexible schedule. Or I just do, kind of like you said, but not jokingly, is do the same thing I do for him, but do for other content creators. Because it's all the thumbnails, the deliverables, photos, things like that is everything I do for him.
Merch, website.
The graphics for the t-shirts, dealing with the companies for orders. Kind of just the behind, which I prefer to be the behind the scenes. I don't mind being on the camera, but the behind the scenes, driver of the details. And then I just get his okay on things, and yeah.
It's not the sexiest stuff, but boy, that's sure the glue to the brand.
It has
For
to be
sure.
done, because like you get your people with the big visions and they're creative, and that's what, James is, and we call him the star of the show. But if you can't like focus on narrowing those things down and getting all the details in alignment, you don't execute. So having the two of us together but doing separate things just makes the ship run smoother.
So I watched your podcast with Mr. Cameron.
Yeah.
And mainly because I've been there, done that, and I wanted to get your, I wanted to get to know you. I thought it was a great pod.
Thank you.
Like, I was like, I wanted to get to know James because I've only seen you like in passing that one time here.
One time, I know.
And
which is actually crazy if you think about it. That's the only time we ever crossed paths.
yeah,
for
and
like
I
2
was
minutes.
filming a video with Illingsworth, Nate Illingsworth that day. And so it just wasn't, and Josh Jones could have communicated and said, hey, James is going to be in town, but he didn't do that.
But here we are, man. Hey.
But here we are. Fast forward. He did actually communicate. Thank you, Josh. He's like, hey, James is going to be in town. Do you want to have on your pod? I was like, F yeah. Of course.
Heck yeah.
So I'm trying to think, like, the Cameron pod is really good, man, but it's like, let's go behind the scenes. Like, obviously a pretty big deal that he had reached out to you.
Yeah.
That's cool. But you flew in. How long were you there?
So I think 3 nights, I think. Yeah, I think I was 2 or 3 nights. And of course, that's a unique one, right? Because Cam's such a legend, like the biggest, like he's kind of like the biggest in our direct niche, you know what I mean? So to get that opportunity was pretty big. And, going up there, of course, you're like a little nervous, but I'm always nervous going into something, but it's like an excited, like I gotta be sure I smoke it and perform.
It drives you.
I love it. So
cool.
once I'm there though, and we're talking, it's like, we're having a good time. But I will say the run, oh dude.
I mean, the shooting's not a problem, but it's like, okay, what is he going to make me do on a run? So what did he make you do for the run?
Shoot, dude. So I thought I had been preparing because I love weight training, right? And I've always weight trained. But admittedly, I wasn't doing a whole lot of cardio. But thankfully, a few months before that, I was getting a little thick, right? And I said, I need to start getting leaner. And this was before I knew I was going. So I had started running, but only on flat ground, right?
Yeah.
So I felt pretty good about it. We get there, we get out the truck. He goes, it's just a little walk, like little jaunt up this hill, Pisgah. And I'm like, okay, all right. So we start going.
That sounds like Cam.
Dude, I pushed it to try to keep up that first part. Bro, I was so smoked. I'm walking within 200 yards, dude. James walking next to me. I'm all sweaty, like dying, bro. We get to the top. It's like dark at this point, and it's starting to rain. And I'm thinking, okay, we'll go back down. Like that was
That's
fun.
when you did like your first jump on
I
the
jumped on the
monument,
thing,
right?
which is taller than I thought, right? That monument's taller than you thought. And then he goes, we're going to do just like a little bit more, but not just a little bit. Like, don't worry about it. I go, okay. We went all the way down the backside of Pisgah and all the way back up, jumped on the monument again, all the way back down. And what's crazy is I was wearing a Samsung Galaxy
So what was the
watch.
mileage on that? That's got to be,
It's
it's
like
5K up,
Yeah.
5K down, 5K up, 5K down.
I think it was like 8 plus.
8+ miles.
But here's the crazy part. So I have worn that Samsung watch for years, and it tracks all my records. And my record for floors in a day, I had done in New Mexico elk hunting one day, and I did like 170 floors.
Right.
And that stood the test of time for 4 years, that record.
Yeah.
Across other hunts, everything. We beat it that day in 2 hours.
That's nuts.
I was like, dude, Cam's a machine, and so is James. That's
Who's
to me,
James?
That's his camera guy, and it's so impressive because he runs the same stuff right there with you while filming.
Is he like a tall drink of water?
He's a tall, skinny dude, so he's like built for it. You
Well,
know,
it's still
And
impressive.
dude, it's so crazy impressive. I'm like, both
I'll
of you
never
inspire
forget
me.
I went to Cam's to have him on my channel many years ago before he was doing the whatever it's called collective.
Yeah,
And basically he's like, I want him on my pod, and he's like, you have to come down here and do lift, run, shoot, and then I'll pod. I was like, fine, we'll do it. My camera guy at the time, Jake, ran we did 22 miles.
wow,
Ran 22 miles with a camera.
Oh, dear Lord.
jeez, dude.
And that was more impressive than anything.
Yeah.
And also it made me not complain because I was wrecked.
Yeah.
I was hurting too.
Oh, dude.
Did you get in the ice bath at Cam's house?
No, we didn't do the ice bath. We just hit the lift. We hit a breakfast one day, hit a coffee shop, went to Wayne's, the bow rack.
Oh, yeah.
And then that portion of what we filmed has not out yet. I believe it's yet to come out on their channel. We filmed like an additional like extra day of shooting.
Oh, fun.
Of just like, and we went there. So I think that'll come out soon. But yeah, it's cool actually that you did it. And I was thinking it would be fun to talk about because not too many people have got to do it. So it's kind of interesting. We can both like relate on it, you know? And, but he told me, I asked actually, like, cause I was like, how'd Dan do? He's like, oh dude, like he smoked the run, like, but we pushed him, you know?
I did not.
He's like, well, he told me they intentionally scouted out the steepest stuff for you to do.
Yeah, he wrecked me.
He said you killed it though.
We didn't even run. You couldn't run. That's
Yeah.
how steep it was.
Yeah.
So it was like hiking as fast as you can. Like literally, I can't remember the stats, but it's something like, with not much exaggeration, 5K up. That's vertical feet.
Yeah.
5K down to this backside. And then I want to say 5K up and down. It was something like close to, I can't remember
Wow.
the stats, but the total mileage was only 11 miles.
But
We did run, but like it was only a couple spots and it was just walking. And I'm like, oh, no one keeps up with me when I elk hunt.
right.
I'll be able to keep up with Cam now because
Yeah.
I've ran with him and I can't keep up with him.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
This 50-something-year-old dude
Yeah.
is walking and then waiting for me.
I know.
And when I get to him, he's like,
I know.
you good, bro? And
I
I'm like,
know.
no.
Yeah, I know, dude. He does do that. So like I'll be so far behind trying to keep up and he'll stop and like actually come back to you and go, you good? I'm like, as I'm drenched in sweat, I'm like, yeah, we're doing
I love how you even
you
call
know.
it trying to keep.
Oh, I'm not keeping up. I'm
Meanwhile, he's
trying,
coming
but
back
I'm
to
nowhere
you.
near.
You
Yeah.
have to do you.
Yeah.
And then you got to give the man credit.
He's a beast. Dude.
He's such a good athlete.
oh yeah.
That's why his son is so amazing. Like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I just saw Truett at Black Rifle 2 weeks ago. I think he was coming to do the pod, and I was there doing something, other different content. And I hadn't seen Truett since he was 11 years old.
Oh wow.
So at one point in my life with Bowhunter Magazine, I went to Oregon to do these intro outros with Cam for the TV show. And I got to hang out with Truett, and he's 11 years old. And Cam was like, well, you're a strength coach. Show him how to like clean. So we're trying to teach Truett Haynes at 11 how to clean with a broomstick. I forgot all about this. He brought it up. He remembered it all. He's like, oh, I remember when you came over. We were in the garage. You had a broomstick. You were trying to teach me how to clean.
Wow.
And I was like, dude, you're an animal. Like
Yeah, he's a
whatever you
machine,
did.
dude.
Wow. Like did you see his marathon he just did in jeans?
I saw the clip that they posted. Is hilarious, dude. He
Most
just
beautiful content ever.
oh yeah.
Just the announcers.
Yeah.
Or what? I didn't know marathon had
I
announcers.
guess. Yeah.
How do you announce a marathon?
I know. Yeah.
And they're like, who is this guy running?
with jeans. If you have a physique like that, you might as well show it off. They said, I think,
not wrong.
because he looks insane.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he looks great.
He looks like a movie star, dude. That guy's
yeah,
got
he's a good-looking kid.
He's got to get into acting, but yeah, so impressive.
Hey guys, we're going to interrupt the pod today to bring you a little information about one of our new partners, Latitude Outdoors. I've been looking for a saddle partner for a long time, and I've been very picky. I finally found the one. Latitude, they're out of Michigan. They're just a bunch of regular blue-collar dudes who get after it for whitetail. And for me, I'm a huge whitetail guy. Some of you didn't know that. And I will be using these for out west whitetails in eastern Washington, North Idaho, western Montana, to name a few. But what you didn't know is that I'm going to be utilizing this for elk hunting as well, especially midday sits over wallows. Instead of taking a nap on the side of the mountain, I'm going to scurry up any tree I want at any pinch point, funnel, or wallow, and hopefully stack the odds in my favor when it comes to punching that out west elk tag. Same thing for spring bear over bait. A lot of times I've only had one tree stand set up for bears, and when the wind is wrong or the prevailing's off, I can't sit it. Now I can sit any tree at the bait that's appropriate for the current wind. And thermals and prevailing change a lot in the mountains, as you guys know. So getting elevated, super lightweight climbing sticks, awesome platform, the Maverick saddle. Check out Latitude Outdoors. Back to the pod.
225 bench, Cam and his two sons. Every
yeah.
Christmas, see who can hit 225 the most. And his older son, Tanner, dude.
Yeah, I'm his hype man. Tanner, I'm his hype man.
They're like, Cam was like, dude, I'm telling you, guy is like an absolute savage. Like, He'll do 225 like 30 times and just
Think about
rack
that.
it. Like he's got more.
NFL combine guys don't even hit that. A lot of them, most of them don't.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, Tanner. I've known Tanner a long time, and like I've always told him, I'm your hype man. Like everyone knows who True it is.
Right.
It's Tanner. But yeah, no, all the whole family is amazing. So
I love it.
You lifted with Cam, probably did chest and buys.
Yeah, we did like a medley of chest and back and buys.
Yep, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then you probably shot bows and did all that.
So we actually shot day one. So like when I flew in, I Ubered to the airport, got to the airport, had like an hour. Then they came and picked me up. We went straight to Wayne's, and that's where we did the balloon shot. Got out to 201 was the furthest we could kind of get.
Aiming at one of the trees up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know how that property kind of dips off?
Yeah, you can't even really see the target.
Yeah. So 201 was what we could get unless we totally changed the angle.
Were you standing in a truck to do that?
In a truck on a cooler. On the Grizzly cooler, yeah. And then so got that, and then and then right after that went to Pisgah, and then we did all that in the dark. And then the next day did the fun bonus shoot day that's not out yet. And
was that like a 3D range?
At Wayne's, you know how he has all those targets?
Yeah.
And we just did different challenges. Like he would pick something, I'd pick something, and we battled back and forth. It was great.
He's actually, both of you punched the shit out of the trigger, and you're both really good at archery. Like, don't forget the last part I said.
Yeah,
and you're both
yeah.
really good at archery.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
So it's cool to see that. And I've never been a guy who I've punched the trigger way more years than not.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we can talk about it, but like, I'm never clowning somebody like Cam, who's killed so many elk, so many species of critters consistently. And I've shot with him. He's really good. Same with you. You're 5 for 5 on elk. That's a stat I've never even heard.
Yeah, in the last 7 years, yeah.
Or 7. That's pretty. That's an incredible stat. Yeah. So it doesn't really like archery is cool. Do it however you want.
Yeah.
Have fun with it.
Yeah.
And the Pisgah is. We got to talk about the Pisgah for a second. So when I went down to see Cam, like the official his version of the podcast, not mine.
Yeah.
We did that crazy hike, and we drove forever away from where he lives to go do that thing in the mountains of Oregon. Absolutely stunning. And then I can't remember the order of operations, but then I thought, like, I remember calling my wife. I don't want to admit this, but I was like I had, it was 2 weeks before elk season, and I was just like, I don't want to get hurt. Like, that's the only thing. I want to come home uninjured.
Yeah.
Because I have an ego. And so I remember texting her. I think I texted her, and I was like, hey, I just got back. It was like midnight. I'm like, I'm good to go. I survived the worst of it. No, that bastard brought me to Pisgah after we lifted, and we had to do the 100-pound sandbag up Pisgah.
Oh, no.
I didn't get to do that one. But.
And I was like, I made a deal with Cam at the bottom of the hill, because I've been up Pisgah before. I said, I will not stop. Like, I'm going to go to the top unbroken. And dude, I was like wheezing, like making weird seal sounds that I've never made before, because I could see the monument. I could see it. And I just had one more little bastard climb.
I know. I hate that last part too, or it's
and
right
there's
there.
50 ways to get up there.
I know.
But
dude, shoot.
That might have hurt more than the other day.
Yeah. And plus you're already gassed because you just hiked a bazillion vertical.
Again, that's why I always defend that man.
Yeah, me too. You have to, dude. So legit.
I just think he's such an amazing athlete, and I want to be that fit someday.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's incredible.
I came home from that and I was like, okay, I got to take my cardio even more serious than I have been, because
you haven't stopped running since.
I haven't stopped running since, and I've been going a lot further, because what I realized was, getting strong and being in the gym lifting is great, but my lungs and heart should be better than this, so then I've gotten a lot better, like, because my watch will read all that, and it shows the improvements that I'm making on all that stuff just from running, or whatever. And I like running because it's so there's no excuse. You literally go out your door and you can run. You don't have to go anywhere. There's no, I don't have time to drive well, you don't got to drive, And I love that, how simple it is.
Did you meet Josh Jones or Tim Connor or Brandon McDonald first? Like, who of those are guys that I know well.
Yeah.
Who did you meet first?
Actually Brandon. So Brandon and I did this thing for a while where we were Instagram living with just each other, and then it became this thing where like next thing, for some reason T-Bone's on there with us.
Oh, sick.
Which was
T-Bone knows his
badass
stuff, man.
Oh, dude, that was so cool. And then we had other cool guests on, and then one of the times it was Josh, and then basically we had kind of joked about, okay, maybe we could all go shoot at a tack together, and then we did that, and that's the first time I met Tim and Josh, and we all stayed in the Airbnb.
Oh my god!
Played pool, competed. One video on each channel.
That's genius.
You kind of had to follow the competition through the channels.
Cool.
And each channel had the video like in our own style, so it was really cool.
Did that happen before the first time we ever came up here?
Yes.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. So we
Dang,
went
I
to
don't even
San
remember
Antonio, and then
And that's like my favorite tack, by the way.
I think it's so underrated, dude. I agree.
Mainly the people.
Oh my! I'm telling you, dude. I've been 4 times,
Oh,
and I think it's the best one.
I agree.
Or one of them. This year, though, we're doing Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Pennsylvania. So
Going east.
we're really
I think
mixing
the
it
PA
up.
is going to be huge. I've always
yeah.
wanted to do the PA one.
Yeah,
That'll be cool.
yeah. I can't wait. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But
So you were at an Airbnb with? Did you go?
For that one, absolutely not. No.
Smart.
We said that's going to be a boys' trip.
yeah,
That sounds like a boys' trip.
Mm-hmm.
I've done all those things with all those guys. I'm trying to think how funny that would be. Yeah, like I'll just say that. Yeah, each one of those guys is a character or a caricature. I would say. You know what I mean? So I bet like those are all big personalities, yourself included.
for sure. Yeah,
That's probably a riot, just
Oh, dude.
nonstop.
it was 100%. Yeah, it was one of those things where, Tim might go to bed early, but no one else was going to bed anytime soon. Like it was lively, and then we'd get up and shoot at 6 a.m.
Yeah. That's the one thing about the tax is that 6 a.m.
Yeah.
shoot. Oh,
Dude,
I am
it's
not,
nice.
I'll be honest.
not
Sometimes
looking forward to this.
I'll be honest. Sometimes I just won't do it. I'll just sign up on the website for like 8:30 or 9, and I'll just like, no, it's cool. We'll shoot at 9,
Yeah.
because it's so much more mellow. This year we are doing 6, but I do like later.
There's no warming up.
Nope.
And the cameras are rolling,
Yeah.
and you can't take back any arrow.
And
It's game
dude,
on.
When we did it in San Antonio last year, I mean, it was still dark at 6. Like we're waiting for it to get light. You know what I mean? Like it depends where you are and what time of year, but it was dark then.
Yeah, theirs is early in the year.
Right.
Yeah. What a great venue. And the Texas people are so hospitable. Yeah, that's my favorite shoot so far, I would say.
I love
just
it.
the people in San Antonio.
I love
So never done the Oklahoma one. Have you been to that one before?
No, these are all first years.
All
for
first
us.
years.
All
I
of
think
them.
that's smart.
Yeah, because we've done Utah so many times, done Texas so many times, done
You've even done
Montana.
Montana a
I've done
couple.
Colorado. Like
How was Colorado?
I thought that was one of the best ones.
Yep, I've heard
Beca-
good things.
Just because of how steep and gnarly the terrain is. It's steep as a bastard, dude.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like it makes Utah and Montana look flat, dude. Dang. Like, it's steep, but I think they might have moved it this year. I think Whitney was
did.
telling me so.
Yeah.
It's not at the same place, but
Montana's moved too. It's no longer at Big Sky.
yeah, I heard
Yeah.
that.
Red Lodge, which I've never been.
I'm sure it's nice. I mean, it sounds luxury. Red Lodge,
It's close to Wyoming and
Yeah.
kind of close to the park.
Yeah,
Beautiful. It'll be a beautiful area.
yeah.
Hell of a drive for me.
What are you doing? Which
I'm
one's
definitely doing Red Lodge.
Red Lodge?
And then I have on my calendar to do Utah with Josh. That would be it for me.
Just the 2. 2's good though.
Choose
more than enough.
If it was up to me, I would do a tack tour. I would literally, I'd call all you guys, be like, let's just go
Bump
hit
stops.
everyone because it's the people, and I love shooting bows into targets on the mountain.
And personally, I don't know. I really enjoy getting to talk to people that watch the videos. Like that's big for me, because there's only so many places you really get the chance to do that. And TAC's
In
perfect
person,
because
yeah.
you get to in person meet and mingle with people who have supported,
Yeah.
and I think that's badass. And like we do our 3D shoot as well every year, Bow Disciples Challenge in May 17, 18 down in San Diego County. But
What's that?
it's a 3D shoot
Time
just like
out.
TAC.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so it's 2 days. 2 days. There's camping Saturday night. We're right at a campground, the venue. So tons of people camp. There's a music show, food trucks. Like, we really have a lot of production into it. This is our 3rd year. 3 courses, 20 targets each, a kids course for like little tykes, you know
Love
what I
it.
mean? So like kids out there that they could be 3 shooting their little longbow at frog targets and stuff.
Perfect.
And yeah, it's just a social thing, you know? And, but that is really cool too, because people come from all over to the event and they get to mingle with, you know, not only me and the Bow Disciples crew, but they, you know, get to meet Josh and Brandon and, you know, whoever decides to show, like cool people show. And it's like everyone gets to just hang out and it's so much fun. So that's what I think TAC does exceptionally well, is makes it like, because a lot of shoots, I do a lot of tournaments and I don't know if you do at all, but like a lot of times you'll shoot and go home. I didn't want that. I wanted people to shoot and hang out and make new friends.
Linger.
That's what I wanted.
It's like a little
and
step further than TAC, because you get to hang out, but you're going to your hotel or your Airbnb or whatnot, or you hang out at the venue there with all the
vendors.
Yeah, that's the word I wanted. But when you're stuck at a campground, you know, you're like, let me go over to this person's campsite.
Yeah.
Let me go over to this person's campsite. And then he does the concert. And then they did like an impromptu pod and did like a Q&A
awesome.
during it. And I thought, you know, like if people stick around, they stick around, whatever. So many questions. So it's like, you have to do it again this year because people, you know, when do they get a chance to ask in person questions to Josh Jones or Brandon this year or whatever? So it's just a different, like an added bonus to the experience of something like TAC, which is, but more laid back. So it's.
And TAC's a big inspiration. I mean, obviously, just because part of our branding that I've always been passionate about is making sure people know that you can just shoot archery for fun, even if you never hunt. I promote archery being fun, and that's always been our thing, even in the very beginning. And TAC, that's exactly what it does. It's not a competition. But you make competition with your buddies and you chap ass, and that is so much fun. And that's what I really enjoy doing. So our event was very much modeled after it. And I always look at it as like that and the YouTube are like my babies, you know, those two things. And we take it so seriously to make sure it runs freaking seamless. Because I shoot so many archery events of different styles, tournaments, non-tournaments, TAC, fun stuff. I know what's fun to shoot, good to shoot, and I know what runs smoothly and what doesn't. Because I don't like stuff that's clunky.
I don't like bottlenecks. I don't like waiting to shoot.
Exactly.
That's garbage.
Exactly. And a good flow is so key. And the reason why TAC is able to have 3,000 people at a shoot is because they're spreading them out across 8 to 10 courses. So we're able to this year, you know, let's just say we have 300 people. Now they're spread across 3 courses. So really it's almost like you only have 100.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's the only way you can do scale like that without having the classic golf debacle of waiting for.
Interrupt this pod, tell you about one of our awesome partners, Easton Archery out of Salt Lake City. That's right. Everything is made in the US of A. I've toured their factory in person. It's pretty awesome. We're going to do another factory tour soon on YouTube. But right now, I want to tell you about the Easton 5.0. I use this in Montana. This is a great 5mm arrow, if not one of the best on the market now. This one comes in at 8.4 grains per inch. And if you order the match, you will get the hit insert plus the collar, which is a perfect marriage for durability. Now, there are other brands out there in the 5mm category with similar spines. But for those, you will have to do spine alignment with Easton, and their spine around shaft you will not. Their process is seamless, and so you're going to get the best arrow on the market made with American resources, American labor. This is a great all-around arrow for Total Archery Challenge, for anything out west, and your whitetails. Also, check out the new FMJ Max, which is a great lighter option than the traditional FMJ. And then you can check out the tried and true Parallel Pro 4mm. These are my favorite. Easton Archery. Easton is a proud partner of ours, making great products that you can be confident with. Back to the pod.
Yeah, this looks good.
Where were we?
We're talking about the event and blah, 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 inspired by TAC. But yeah, I mean, anyway.
Basically sums up your event.
You can basically camp at your event.
Yeah, it's right. So my point is like, I like doing stuff that kind of pushes people into making new friends and mingling. That's what I like, you know. because I'm a social guy, so I think
Social
it's
butterfly.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I like the opportunity to connect with the viewers, especially, and that's what's so cool about TAC. You know.
Yeah, there was a TAC back in the day at Big Sky where the parking lot was cool to camp in the parking lot. It was okay.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was like that the year you went.
No.
So like everybody would park their campers, whatever, and it was just a sea of camping. James, I looked more forward to being like done with the shoot and going down there and making elk burgers, antelope burgers, drinking lollipops with everybody. And I made some friends that I'm still in contact with to this day.
Yep.
And they took that away a couple of years ago, and it's never been the same. And I think that's probably why it's no longer there. The mountain, I don't know who got greedy and was like, oh, we're going to charge to camp here. And then they took that away. So it's just like, that's probably the biggest thing about taxes if you can camp there.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think you can. I don't know if it's close, though. I'd have to ask my sister. Tennessee's, I know that her group always camps. They'll drive up and camp, but I wonder if it's like further away and then they drive in, or if it's close enough that they're, like.
When's the Tennessee one?
That is May 2nd through the 4th.
Yeah, May 2nd through the 4th. So it's 2 weeks before our event. And, dude, in May, check out our May. So we got Tennessee TAC,
You get a
2
weekend
weeks
off.
to prep for our shoot, which is a ton of work.
So I'm stressed out right now.
Then our event for 2 days, then a week, then fly to Pennsylvania for TAC, bro. So in 1 month, we're hitting 2 TACs
And then you have
our
another
biggest
event. You get
of
one
the
that
year.
you're
weekend off,
hosting.
and you get one weekend off, and then you are back in Texas.
Oh, for
another
BoTech
event.
rally. Yeah.
What's a BoTech rally?
It's it's another shoot, but I think
Something
they do.
BoTech does.
I think they do it with Mountain Archery Fest though.
How long have you been with BoTech?
I mean, I've shot them since 2005, but I've only officially been like with the brand for this year.
Was it fun getting with the brand?
Yeah, I mean, I always pushed off doing sponsorships just because I was a pro bike rider, so I had in the past done sponsorships and been down that road before. And I didn't want to do that for a long time. So we did 5 years fully independent, and then this year now I do have, 4 brand deals. So we got BoTech, Beast, Victory, and Kawasaki, and then,
Kawasaki?
Yeah, and Kawasaki was pretty dope. Huh?
That sounds like a good one.
Oh, it's very dope. Yeah, super stoked on
I
that.
was very grateful this past Arizona hunt.
Oh, it's insane, yeah. But then and then obviously I do a little bit of affiliate stuff like with podiumarcher.com, doing the discount code and stuff like that. But yeah, super stoked.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So it's different, it changes the job a little bit, because you got to do, of course, like content and stuff for the brands as well.
Right.
But still the same general stuff.
That's awesome. I'll tell you, like from my lens, partnerships, sponsors, people want to know the ins and outs. Like they really do until they find out what it really entails. And then they might rethink that. But I'll tell you, like, obviously I'm a Matthews fanboy. I've heard it called Matthews Shape. But Matthews is my favorite brand to work with because they have, here's their deliverables. Make cool archery stuff.
Now, does it require you to send X amount or anything?
No, that's not. That would be listed in a deliverable. That's not. Okay, but caveat, there's 59 other James with the same thing with Matthews. So I have to compete against some of the best content creators out there that are way better at, they have cameras that don't shut off on your pod.
Yeah.
They know how to make lighting cool.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of really good creatives that also work for Matthews. So if you ever see me on a Matthews post, trust me, I'm celebrating because we probably sent them everything and they just use one thing. So they just have a stacked team of talent, right?
Super stacked.
But I will say the bigger, better brand deals have less deliverables. The smaller brand deals have the most deliverables and quite honestly give me a vibe that what have you done for me lately every week? And I'm in the game for a while now. So I try not to even do those deals anymore, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just want to make content that I would make anyways, probably like you. Like
Yeah.
I wake up every day and like, what am I? Like I'm way more probably into hunting, at least content.
Yeah.
And I think about hunting and I'm pretty intense about it, obviously. Some people don't like that, but I can't turn it off. Like I'm a very intense guy on hunting. So you're telling me all these trips in May for foam, and I'm like, dude, you're missing like the best month to go bear hunting.
Yeah, right.
All over the West and maybe Alaska. But I get it. So I guess the point is if you can just make authentic content that you would have made anyways, I think you're golden, you know?
I agree.
And that's probably what you guys are doing. It's just we want to have fun. We want to shoot bows and we want to document it.
For sure.
And people will see that.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
That's what I think you've talked about is like a little bit is moving in a way that companies should have contracts essentially, which seems like kind of Matthews does, where, you know, there's your people who make that real pretty content and whatnot. And James loves the raw stuff, like, you know, very little production. You know, there's production that goes into it, but like it's raw. It's like watching a vlogger a day in a life. Yeah, it's not cinematic. That's a new word I'm trying to use more apparently. But there should be ones where there's your creatives who are cinematic. And that's the stuff they're essentially, whether they're giving you money or product, because they want that from you. They want those deliverables so they can put them on their page. But then there should be the contract that's like, okay, I have the viewership and the numbers and the watch time that says my product is going to sell, or your product's going to sell because I'm putting it in the videos, because it's getting used. You know, like we're not recreating a photo because we know this is what you like to see, you know? Just making what I normally make. And I think there should be kind of different types of contracts. I'm sure there are out there.
Well, I think what you're kind of talking about is like having one lane for people that make content for the company, and then one that's like more of just a sponsored person who's just using that stuff in their own content all of the time.
Yes,
and like Bomar puts it really well. He gives the example of it's kind of like selling real estate on your channel. So if you're using a bow,
I remember him explaining this.
Yeah, if you're using a bow in every single video, that's a ton of real estate on your channel, which should have X amount of value. Whereas if you're using a broadhead and that's a sponsor, obviously that's taking up a little less space on your channel. But you're not a year-round
hunting channel.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you kind of quantify it based upon how much
its usage and display.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which I think's interesting.
Let's talk about the art of YouTube.
Yeah.
For a minute. We have a mutual friend, Tim Connor.
Yep.
He helped me a lot on my channel. I never not give credit where credit's due. Like he came in, I didn't have but 10,000 subs, been doing it for years. And honestly, it wasn't my focus. Probably still isn't, but I'd be lying if I said I don't like try to make good YouTube videos. But Tim came in with his cinematic skills.
Yeah.
I would say he opened my eyes to a lot of things, like a cadence, because I would just post whenever I had a video and I didn't really, so a regular schedule-ish. A title. I never thought about a title. And he was like, no, we're going to talk about the title and the thumbnail before we even make the thing. And so Tim and I worked together beautifully for several years. And I wouldn't say we had a falling out. I would say, because Tim's my buddy. I talk to him all the time. I would say he's just an entrepreneur at the end of the day. Like he works for himself. He's not a guy that's going to work for me.
Right.
The end.
Yeah.
So we had our deal or whatever, and we did it. And then he went his own way, and that was cool. That was great. But what I take from that time with him was there's an art, there's some skills to YouTube.
Yeah.
Unless you're a hot girl.
Yeah.
With really big boobs.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
I mean,
it certainly helps.
It definitely helps. It's not
doesn't
like
hurt.
You can't lie.
Yeah, but if you could be yourself and find your niche and just find a path for yourself, that's why I've told and I continue to tell everybody, make your own YouTube channel, keep posting, turn your phone sideways and vlog for all I care.
Yeah.
And eventually you're going to find that you have an audience that connects with you. There are people that watch Tim's stuff and love him.
Oh, yeah.
That would watch my stuff and be like, I can't handle that guy. He's too intense. That's cool.
Yeah.
Go watch his stuff. Like you connect, or someone will watch the Bow Disciple guy and he's just fun.
Yep.
I like that. Like, so everyone's got their own audience.
Oh, dude. But I mean, Josh and I and Tim and Brianna, we just talked about this exact
Let's hear
same
it.
subject because the one thing that I have to watch personally to not get in my head about is YouTube. I've done it long enough, as have you, to know that your viewership and numbers and engagement go in waves. Sometimes it's like everything I'm posting's a smash. Then it's like everything I'm posting's a flop. All the numbers are down, and it like that will wear on you sometimes.
Sure.
You're like, what am I doing wrong? Whereas in reality, probably nothing. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, what I learn is, like, someone like Josh has huge numbers, right? His long form videos are huge numbers. And I sometimes will get discouraged a little bit when I go, how do I get numbers as big as his on my long form? But then what's important to remember is it doesn't matter. What matters is just knowing what you do, what your niche is, and you can't control the result.
Otherwise,
that
it's like
much.
chasing the arrow, you know,
Sort of, yeah.
when you're trying to sight in or you're not shooting well at a shoot. If you start looking at other people's content, everybody's content's different. Like his stuff's fun. Josh is super knowledgeable. If you start looking at somebody else's numbers and say, oh my God, I wish mine looked like that, you know, like what can I do differently? Now you start changing the type of content you do. And I'm not saying change is not okay. You can evolve and get creative, like get more cinematic and get more produced and stuff like that you can do. But if you start changing the core of what your YouTube is and who you are, you lose the people who, you know, who are already watching. And so I think that's what he's trying to do, you know, or always tries to do, is just remember, like, I don't need to make my stuff more like Josh's or more like, you know, Brandon McDonald's or whatever. Just how can I make mine better and better? Because, you know, Josh's numbers may be crazy, but it's like people love that techie knowledge stuff, you know? And
that's something that I can't really provide. You know, I know a lot about archery, sure, but not even a tenth of what he knows. So for me to try to do what he does, or for me to try to do what you do, or what Cam does, or what Bomar does, or vice versa, anyone else, it's like you can't do that. You just got to do your own thing and be consistent with it. And I tell aspiring content creators all the time, the only reason the channel is where it is, and we get to sit down with ELKSHAPE or Cam or whoever other cool people I've got to meet over the years, is only because of consistency, and I never stopped. That's it.
Wow, it's like a secret for life.
That's it, bro.
You just hacked life.
I'm telling you,
Never give up.
I am the type of guy who I don't stop, right? So like when it comes to hunting, I'm such a lunatic, bro, that it's like I've literally gone out on an over-the-counter elk hunt before, and I think I sat the same tree stand 28 days for 10 hours a day until I shot a bull.
Yeah.
Because I do not give a shit. I'm either going to run out of time or I'm going to accomplish my goal, right? It's one or the other. And I think that if you can
it doesn't even
approach...
matter if you're not hunting. Like,
even
my
if I'm
first elk
filming
hunt,
her hunt?
I broke down.
Oh, yeah.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. She
being
Guys,
short.
we need to hear about this.
Oh, dude. So I'll let her tell it, but you know how much of a grind elk hunting is, right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
And we're hunting on the ground. This was a cow hunt, and dude, I mean, I pushed her definitely to the brink, but at one point she goes, I'm done. I'm not doing this. And we had like 3 days left. And I looked at her right in the eye and I said, if you quit, that means that I am also quitting, and that is not happening. So I need you to pull it together, because we're going to continue until we're out of time or we get the job done.
Yeah, so...
Which is harsh, but like, I'm like, you know.
I'm a little gal. I'm short. And with short comes a short draw length, comes a slower bow. And, you know, we've worked and worked. I used to draw, James about left me for, under elbow down. It's like, that's not happening. You're gonna learn how to draw. So we changed up my whole draw cycle, and I had to drop down to 38 pounds. And we spent the last 2 years working back up to 50.
Just
and
rebuild.
So, yeah, and that's what we did. And
I thought
got
it was 33.
It might have been 33.
I think it was
low.
She got low.
But so I think we got to 46 for that elk hunt. And you want them spot and stalk. Like, you want to call them and chase after them. And we did. Like, we were in there plenty of times. And I'm like, I can't see them. And this is where that frustration comes in. James is a foot taller. I'm like, he's like, they're right there. They are right there. I'm like, I don't know where the hell you're talking. Where is right there? Like, I can't see them. And
well, there was that
so,
scenario. Like,
this is one of many.
One time,
I'm sitting there. We took a break. The stalk didn't work out, and I'm looking at my phone. James goes, "So you hear that?" I don't know. Try to put the phone down. Drop it on a rock. Falls to the ground. It's a herd of like 25 elk. Walking straight to me.
Oh, that
straight
hurts so
to
bad.
walked by us at 10 yards, and when she dropped her phone, they got a freaking alert, and I was just like,
Yeah, it was rough. And like the nail in the coffin was we started sitting this water hole that was hammered. It was like, normally I'm not a big fan. I'm not a fan of the blind sitting and whatnot. I want to move.
Yeah.
When you saw this water hole, you're like, no.
Undeniable.
I will kill one here. And so we sit in this little ground blind that's already made there, and everybody else wanted to sit it too. Like, it wasn't far, it was but 450 yards off the side of a dirt road, and hidden and down in a hole, but you'd see a ladder stand up there, ground blind already made, and we sit in it, and sure as shit, you hear, I'd never been elk hunting before. I never heard these sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So utterly close where you're hearing these guttural sounds from their breathing. And I'm like, I'd never shaken so bad in my life. And they just come running in. I mean, he says they're going to run straight into the water. This is not like deer. They're not going to be timid. They're going to come straight in like
they're there to party.
And they came to party. They did. And I didn't realize how close we were to that water hole.
I knew
until one is standing 6 yards in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just staring at an elk 10 feet away. And I was like, I'm screwed. And it gets chaotic, and I've got one picked out, like, okay, if the rest aren't looking at it, I can draw on this one. And you can't read minds. James goes point something else out, like right there. He's talking about the one right in front of me. So I get overworked in my mind. She's looking straight at me, and I just draw the bow straight in the air. Gone.
Yeah.
I'm pissed.
Oh, no.
James is pissed because he's disappointed it didn't work out. This is day like 9.
Out of, I think it was a two-week season.
Yeah.
So we had like a few days left,
This is the ultimate relationship test. This
Yeah.
is make or break.
Yeah.
I know what's going on here.
Oh, dude.
It was bad.
I left this bit in the video where it was like a little bit of
Damn
a rift.
straight.
You can see how frustrated I am.
People
I say
want that
something.
real.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and
But so what happened was, when we sat the blind, we didn't have the time to, because we sat at like kind of spur of the moment, like we need to sit that tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't have any other hunters come in when you were there?
No.
Nice.
Not that time.
Not that time. But so I did not like the blind that was there because it was way too close.
Yeah.
And I do not like brush blinds. I like pop-up blinds.
Same.
Because I hate how your bow, if you're gun hunting, it's one thing. I think
Sure.
it's fine. But the movement of drawing, you got to be more, you need that darkness of a pop-up blind. All the windows closed other than the front ones. So I told her, it was rough, but I go, hey, it's all good. We're going to figure it out. Those elk are going to come back tomorrow, almost for sure. We'll move our blind. We'll go get a pop-up blind, because I always bring 2 or 3.
Yep.
And we'll put it back here at, I think it was
Back to like
37
35
yards.
or
Yeah,
something,
now you're talking.
Instead of 10, which is what I wanted anyways.
But
you
it's
know?
down in a hole, so the whole thing is
It's
sloped.
going to be tricky. Yep.
And being short, again, we go in and we're trying to set this up. And I think it was just the frustration of how everything had gone. And no matter what we did, I would sit there and crouch down and be like, well, now I can see the water, but I can't see anything above. Now I can see everything above, but James, you're going to have to tell me, when they're coming or whatever.
Yep.
And he's like, well, that's not going to work. So I was like, we're frustrated, but we set it down. We kind of got it set up. We come in with the chair. It was not like this height I was trying to crouch was not what it was with the chair, and not level enough. And I just lost it. I broke down. I was like, it's just not going to work, James. I just can't do it.
Mhm.
And he's like, no, it's not an option. I don't quit, so you don't quit. You can take a minute, but we're gonna figure it out. We ended up like building up dirt, made a platform, put in 4 rocks for each edge of the chair,
Absolutely.
and
Just
made
to
it work.
get it up, you know.
I did cut a
and
hole in the
flat.
top of the blind to
Oh, with
draw,
our
but
arrow.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
yeah. And then we got it done there, and
Yeah.
we got a matriarch of a cow.
Oh, huge
I just
cow.
got her cowhide back.
So you made that 37-yard shot.
I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was
right
she
in the
in
pocket.
the drink when you shot her?
Mhm.
Did she
Quartered
get
away
out
from me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So good shot selection.
Mm-hmm.
Good shot placement.
Yeah. Well, it was.
Well,
I have
so
a real
her
problem
shot,
with going
her-
to the shoulder.
her shot was excellent. If the elk's broadside on flat ground, it's like you couldn't draw it better. Right in the
But
pocket,
it was quartering.
quarter and too low. I was worried. It was because it was, you know, like I said, perfect for flat ground, but we're shooting downhill, and her arrows
Doing
got
some
an arc
trajectory.
to it.
Yeah.
So I was immediately concerned the shot was too low and too far forward. So we tracked it a little ways, and I said it was dark at this point. It had because we shot at last
We
light.
went as
So I
far as
said-
the arrow, and that was it, which was only like 50 yards.
So I said we'll come back tomorrow. Found it right. I mean, she went 200 yards. It was down.
Was it a cut on contact broadhead?
Yeah, Magnus Stinger.
That makes sense with the 43. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I would ever use a mechanical just based on like my.
The poundage.
Yeah, I would be too nervous.
On an elk for sure.
an
On a
elk,
deer,
yeah.
because I've shot all my elk but one with mechanicals.
Which one?
Rage Tripan,
yeah.
and then now obviously I'll shoot them with Beast. But
Are you using the Beast regular or titanium?
I actually just got the titaniums that I'm going to use because I'm flying to Africa the end of March to go hunt for like a week. So I want them for that. So I'm going to run the titanium 2-inch.
Ooh.
So it should be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that hunt was awesome. I mean, elk hunting's such a grind. It is fun being the filmer / guide for that because I got to film and
You
guide,
probably had just as much adrenaline as she did.
if not more, probably. But the thing
I
that's
think he has more on every one of my hunts than
and-
I do.
on anyone's,
I get it.
probably,
Yeah.
to be honest. But the cool part is being the filmer is fun because I'm just getting more practice, more reps, getting in there all the time. I mean, I realistically think I could have shot 4 herd bulls on that hunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously because of her height and things working out and
Not a
not being
single
able to
one.
shoot maybe as far, you know, she didn't have quite as many opportunities. But in my head, I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I get this tag, we're gonna be in on these big bulls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that feels good. You know, it's like more practice sort of.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's so good at hunting. You know, like she's a very good hunter. Just sometimes, you know, like
The bushes, if
we
they could just make
riffed.
them a little bit shorter,
Yeah.
I'd be happy because we get right in there. And that's been, I think, the biggest frustration of any hunt ever when we're together is just that you're in that final moment where, I mean, you have worked your ass off to get this close to this animal.
Mhm.
I mean, we did one in coastal blacktail. I was 6 yards from this blacktail in a flat.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you to save my life where it was. Could not see the brush over my head. And so it's just kind of being smart about picking and choosing when I'm going on the stalk based on what the terrain looks like. But we get right in there, and then he's like, "It's right there. It's right there." I'm like, "Where's right there?" I don't know. But I do like it. I'm still learning spot and stalk life because I'm a tree stand person to begin with, but it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprisingly good at it, but
Well,
a little clunky when it comes down to the
Very
final
clunky.
wire.
It's fun though because I bring her on my stocks, right, as a filmer, which
Yeah.
is pretty fun. And we did this one this year that I think is kind of a cool story. Like I glass up this coos deer doe down in this bottom, and she's just standing here like a statue for 45 minutes looking at us. And she's only 200 yards away, right? Like not far. And every time I look over there, she's standing in the exact same position, looking up at the knob at us, not moving whatsoever. Finally, I look back, and there's another deer there, and a buck had stood up, and I'm talking a whopper of a coos. I mean, this thing had like 8 or 9 inch brow tines, right?
Oh, wow.
Giant coos. So he goes and beds down out not very far, and we go stalk out there. I bring her with me, and we're stalking in. And when you talk about like thick, tall stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm either going to have to get extraordinarily lucky with a window, or I'm going to have to shoot them at like 6 feet, you know? And that's like my two options, luck or get extremely close. So we're going in, I have these like yucca plants that I know he's by like near. So I'm like, I'm gotta be 20 or less.
So you're blind stalking at this point. Oh boy.
Cause dude, everything's head high and it's in the desert. It's like this thick mesquite with the thorns.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So I'm like in there, she's behind me, just pick it in there. All of a sudden, I catch just like a little glimmer out in front of me. And I look, dude, this buck is walking broadside straight in front of me, no more than 18 yards, completely broadside. But all I can see is the tip of his horns. And I'm like, this is unfortunate, you know?
My
but
gosh.
like, and finally he like works off a little bit. So we just end up sticking with him, like kind of mirroring him.
Yeah.
Never got a window, dude. Like it just didn't work.
And he never knew you were there.
No.
Wow.
He ended up rutting a doe off a little ways. And but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I like those situations hunting where just like unique stuff happens.
That's a great encounter. Like
it's
a
just
memorable.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. So back to making YouTube for James and staying on brand and just not trying to be anyone else. A good example would be like, for me, like my elk hunts will never be cinematic. I've never had a camera guy that could potentially keep up for that many days in a row. That's not like, I'm not saying that as a flex. I'm just saying that as historical data. And so I've come to realize like, I actually don't even really enjoy having a cameraman when I'm elk hunting. Elk hunting's, you take YouTube away, I'm still an elk hunter. I'm an elk hunter. So I love self-filming. It's fine. I can vlog in the phone, throw a couple action cameras on, maybe bust a DSLR out once in a while. And took me a long time to figure that out. And I'm never going to be a cool, dramatic, cinematic. That's not me. I want to show the grind.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is to me. I'm just not that good at elk hunting. It's a grind.
Oh, dude, elk hunting's a gauntlet, dude.
But for you in like your content and growing a channel and now you're getting brand deals and stuff like that, let's talk about, people will find this interesting, James. Like, wasn't that long ago where you were I believe a realtor for full time and doing this as a side hustle. What was the tipping point where you were like, time to go dangle my nuts. I'm going to go all in on myself. Because that's essentially what you decided.
Right. Yeah. A lot of that was probably Brianna pushing me to do it. But also.
So I think you were already there. You just didn't realize you were already there. It's that nervous jump off the edge that like he could have jumped a while before.
Yep.
And was just, too nervous that it was too high or
Yeah. And so that was key. It was never so much fear. I'm not really a guy who's like operates off fear a ton.
No, you're financially wise.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But it's risky
to
do this without a steady, and even real estate's not steady, but they're bigger paychecks for sure when they do come in. And so that risk of will it work? Like I do need to survive, and he was already surviving and could already have been surviving without doing real estate. It was just realizing that. And I think there are other points that you kind of realized it.
Well, two things made it possible. Is one, like I said, her encouragement and help. Number two, I have built a life where I have very low overhead to operate as a person. You know what I mean? Like I live for very little money. So, and then I do still have a real estate license. So if a deal comes across and I have time to do it, I still could. So that made it easier to kind of take the jump as well. But then I remember it was just like a light switch went off at the end of last year. So our event went really well. Then I stacked like so many cool big features and like big stuff was happening. The channel was doing great. Did a couple deals. But what really made the difference was saying, all right, I need to give this a try full steam. And if I can make it work, great. But if not, I need to like pour more time into real estate and kind of put this a little bit down on the totem pole.
Sure.
So I need to figure out if it's going to work. And if it is, I'm going full tilt. And
So
when
I'm giving myself 1 year.
No, I was going to give like a few months, right? So
Fair.
as soon as I flipped the switch though and said, all right, let's see if we can actually monetize here and what we can do, it went really, really well. And basically our plan was to launch a bow giveaway. I think it was December and January, if I remember correctly, of last year. And basically, like, every $10 spent on our website enters to win one of my bows from like the year prior.
Yep.
And that did really well. We started making new products for the website, and all of that stuff just compounded, So now we're in a spot where, yeah, I mean, it's like I could definitely never sell a house again and be fine. I still really enjoy real estate and I'm passionate about it. It's just the time allotment, especially since I travel a ton now. But luckily, since I still have a license, I can refer out deals to other agents, which is great. And also my retirement plan one day essentially is like going to be largely built on rental properties.
Okay.
Which right now I have a property, she has a property. My plan is, and I'm doing one with Brandon McDonald right now too.
He's a good one to work with.
Yeah.
But my goal is over time to build out real estate and have like as many cash flowing rentals as I can.
That's
because
awesome.
as you know, being self-employed, like we don't have any benefits.
Oh, yeah.
We got to build them out ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the downside, I would suppose you could say, about what we do is we don't have health insurance that our job provides or a 401k or retirement
I just
plan.
paid for this knee surgery
And
out of pocket.
Exactly.
Oh.
So
Think about that.
So that shit's rough, right?
Yep.
And it takes a lot of extra thought, I think, to build that out. But at the same time, I mean, Josh and I were talking about it yesterday. Like, yeah, we're busy as shit, traveling all over, doing stuff all of the time. But like Brianna said earlier, it's all stuff that I'd probably do anyways. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And what would you rather be doing? And guys like, I already know you're good. I already know Dan's answer, but like for guys like us, would you rather go sit in a cubicle from 9 to 5 Monday through Friday or work 15 hours doing this every day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Easy choice for us, right? Maybe not for everybody,
Not for everybody.
but
And you sign up for scrutiny when you be like a public figure.
of course.
You know, you have platforms. So you do a pod, you do YouTube, you do all the socials and stuff like that. You say something dumb, you're going to hear about it.
I know.
Or you do something dumb, you're going to hear about it. You know, you kind of know.
You ended up on a meme page.
I did one
point.
time.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
I did.
I made a clapback video today on Instagram.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I'm sure I haven't got a chance to check it, but I'm
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
I don't do those very often.
Yeah.
But
I love them.
I had
James
had
won't
it.
let me,
Oh,
but I would love to clap back on so many comments with
yeah.
just some jokes. Like
I'm pretty I just
James
keep
is so
moving.
calm
Water off his
sometimes.
back.
I'm too political for her sometimes. Like
Yeah.
not political in the fact where it's like scripted, but I just like won't reply to beef or anything.
But it's
Yeah,
so
that's
funny
good.
because you're
Yeah.
so fun, but also like, it's not like the beef bothers me. You just like don't care. Meanwhile, I think it's funny. You know,
Right.
like James will say like he told me one the other day about the podcast, and there's something like you don't talk about a podcast about archery, and you don't talk about archery. And I'm like, over here in the podcast, I'm gonna censor this. Like I'm gonna talk about it. Like, well, I don't see archery in the title, and I don't see it in the title of the video, and like I have no problem saying it. I think it's funny.
yeah.
But James like, no, we can't do that. I'm like, why not?
Well, what was your meme about?
That one was actually pretty funny. So
They usually are.
it was a page called Archery Hooligan, I think.
I love that page.
Was the page,
Yep.
yeah. And basically it was me trying to shoot my buddy's target bow, and I had never shot it, right? And his
Oh, I
bow
remember
had
this.
0 dwell to it, so when I drew back, they like cammed over on me,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
like I went to pull it,
The
and it, like,
let-offs are usually 65%.
yeah. And
on
now
those.
I shoot a target rig, so like
Oh,
I'm
okay.
very used to it. But at the time, I didn't. I was just shooting a hunting rig. So like I basically draw, like kind of like it flinches a few times and then goes off or
And
something.
he saw that and got it.
Well, he edited in with like a John Cena meme and some other stuff, and which was funny, right? And then the comments on those meme pages is like a cesspool of
Don't read
negativity.
those.
Oh, yeah.
Don't
dude.
read those.
That's the part that I can't do because
The
I'm
meme
like,
itself
the
is
meme-
funny,
the
but
meme
then
is
it's
funny.
like the trolls down below
Oh, yeah.
of like just
well,
it's
stuff.
rough.
Well, stuff like those meme pages or like Reddits or forums is literally like a lot of times it's like a competition of negativity to see
Sure.
who
Yeah,
can
who can
be
write
the
the worst
meanest.
thing.
You know?
And they're savages.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Hooligan's good. I'm not trying to. I've definitely had tons
Oh,
and
I'm
stuff, and
sure.
it's like, I rarely like. So typically on a YouTube post, like a video that I published yesterday, I stuck around for an hour and checked comments and replied, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I've already got another video that's going to be publishing soon, and we're thinking about the next video and all the other stuff. So I don't like. I'm done. Like if you slip in those comments and say something kind of shitty, good for you. You're gonna get away with it because I'm done. Like I kind of only do comments like first hour of a video to try to like answer anything or see. Because usually you'll get a good idea of like, oh, I should explain that better. Someone immediately asks a question, and I'll do that. But as far as that goes, I'm gone. I do think Joe Rogan says it best as far as like just post and ghost. I don't do that, but like I definitely don't go back and read comments on stuff. I try not to. I think there's more important things to do with your life.
Oh, yeah. I do respond to pretty much all of our long form YouTube comments because I want to engage. Shorts, not so much. I can't keep up with it. And then Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, not really.
Okay.
But on YouTube long form, because to me that's like the most important content that we do.
Okay.
I do try my best to get to everybody in those.
That's cool.
And obviously, if someone's like super ass or whatever, I'll
I
just
just love
delete
your,
their
like,
comment
okay
or just
with
say
a thumbs up.
okay. Like that's my favorite response.
That's a good response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not clapping back.
No, just thanks.
yeah.
Or okay.
That's why I don't get on there and comment.
Yeah. But nah, it's fun, man. I mean, you've how many years you've been doing YouTube?
So I started the channel in 13 with no real purpose in life other than a place to kind of put some hunts up. So that was kind of like the main idea. And then at one point I'd got a lot of questions like from emails and stuff and Facebook and Instagram. And so I was like, I think I'm just going to do like a Q&A on YouTube and I'll just go through your elk hunting questions. So I did that for a while. And then I'd say probably within 6 months, I'm like, I need to do a podcast. Like this is basically a podcast. I'm just going to do a podcast. So then I started podcasting on a podcast platform, not YouTube. And then I would just only post some stuff on YouTube. And then in 16, I got Josh Jones to come on my channel and like do what he does, be a nerd about archery. And that was cool. And I actually had to work so hard to get him on. Like,
Yeah.
like
He told me that. Yeah.
Oh, it's no joke. Like
Yeah.
he did not want to do it at all. And I think he makes 3 times as many videos as I do now.
Oh yeah, he has great output for
Just
sure.
boom, boom, boom. And that's
Yeah.
always been like his plan since he started Podium, like the online sales is I'll just make more content than anybody. And good for him. For me now, I don't have really a schedule. I published one yesterday.
Yeah.
It was done. But for me nowadays, I'm only going to make videos that I care about. And it's what I'm doing. Like I'm doing a lot of vlogs lately because of this knee surgery. And I want to like have it documented of how I made the ultimate comeback, Lord willing, on this knee. And a lot of people aren't interested in that. And I understand that, but I am.
It's something
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah, for sure. And
So
that's important.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But no, man, I know what you're saying. Like ebbs and flows on
Oh, yeah.
viewership and all that and all that kind of stuff. And that's okay. What I have found is the videos I try the hardest to do well at do the worst. And then the
So
videos
true.
where it's almost just like a damn cell phone and it's just, hey, oh, turn that on, capture this kind of cool. Those murder.
Yeah.
And
Isn't
same
that
with
something?
Instagram reels and stuff like that. So I no longer look at stats.
Yeah.
I just make what I make and they do what they do and it is what it is.
I think that's like the best way, a really good way to operate, you know? And I used to be so glued to the analytics. Now I'm not so much. I still know them very well for sure.
Okay.
But I do agree that you can't have your mindset get bogged down by worrying about the outcome, and especially not comparing yourself to others, because that is a losing battle. Because when, say, my videos in 2018 when nobody watched them and they were trash, right? Literally, right? Like, I would compare myself to someone probably getting 400 views and go, gosh, could you imagine if I got 400 views on a video? And then you get there and you go, oh, well, now that guy there is getting 800. And then you go, well, if I can get to 800, I'll be happy. And then you get to 800 and you're like, well, that dude is getting 2,000. And then before you know it, you're like, if I could get to 10,000 per video, I'd be extremely happy. And then you get there and you go, well, that guy's getting 50.
Right.
And it's like never ending because there's always someone bigger, unless you're Joe Rogan or Trump. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or Kim Kardashian. But there's like, how many? There's like only 4 or 5 of those people. And me and Dan, like, we're pretty decent size in the space, but we're not going to become Kim K. You know what I mean? So it's like the comparison game is dumb. It's a losing battle.
It'll steal all your joy.
Yeah, because you're never going to win.
No.
Never.
That's good that you recognize that. How old are you, man?
32.
Man, 32 is a good age. I would say 30. I would say 30 Wonderful was like one of my favorite.
30 Wonderful?
30 Wonderful was a great year. I think it was because I didn't have kids yet. And I was like, my wife and I had all ultimate freedom, you know. And then we had kids at about, well, I was 33 when we had our first. And people say everything changes and they're not wrong.
Yeah.
You know, my priorities changed. Like it's no longer about my wife and I. It's about them too. But it's still about my wife and I, you know.
Right.
Never lose sight of that. Do you guys have plans to get married and hitched and slow down and have kids and all that jazz?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's something that would be good to do and that we would both be interested in doing. As far as if slowing down, I mean, I'm sure it would change with kids, but ideally we could just kind of like, you know, maybe she goes on a hunt with a filmer at that point and I stay home with James Jr. or, you know, vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you love hunting, right?
She does too.
So I would say, and we've talked about this, though he is for sure the better hunter, I'm honestly more passionate about hunting, whereas he is just passionate about archery.
Yeah.
Whether it's when he's hunting, whether it's going to 3D shoots, like he's just happy to have a bow in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I don't rifle hunt or anything like that. It'd still always be with a bow, but I just want to go hunting.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go hunting all of the time. And so it does make me a little, because I am a little older than him. I'll be 34 in June.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody starts saying 35 geriatric. I'm like, well,
oh, really?
yeah. People have kids like 45 now. Not that I want one by that age.
Oh, damn.
But, you know, it does make me a little nervous that I didn't start hunting as a tiny tot, you know. It was 2013 when I picked up my first bow. And so I feel like I'm playing catch up in like the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
And shoot and hunt. And so I'm like, we just have to make sure that I know there's no, you can make it work. Like life won't change. No, life will change.
Yeah,
I get that for sure. But how are we ready to make sure that we are preparing that both of us can still hunt while not affecting the YouTube channel and, you know, because that is his primary source of income, his job, you know.
Sponsorships, all that stuff, yeah.
But like, does that mean RV life for a while, or you're just bringing the tiny tot with you? And like, I go out in the mornings, he goes out in the afternoons, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I see nothing wrong with that. Like, there are plenty of people who strap the baby to their back, and they're like, Joel talks about it all the time, where he had Bodie, you know, strapped to him, and he's out there crying, and he's trying to give him something to make him be quiet. You know, I see nothing wrong with that. If I got to strap the baby in a swaddle so I can go out and hunt, that's how dedicated to hunting I am. Might make elk hunting a little more difficult than it already is.
Well, they do grow up fast too. I mean, you blink and they're walking. You blink and they're talking. You blink and it's just so fast.
Gosh, just the hope would be that like they love it as much as you do, and you can't make them. You know,
you can't.
No.
Like, no,
I mean, I've talked about my son I got him a bow. I got my daughter a bow. They don't really care that much. Like Tristan this summer just started shooting that bow out on this elk target out here, and I dropped everything to go be his hype man. You know what I mean? And I'll just continue to do stuff like that. But I'm never like, here, shoot this.
Yeah.
But hopefully he'll like it. But I'm not. If he doesn't, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. But kids are the best. They really show you what love, another level of love that you couldn't experience without having children.
Right.
Which is great.
James just became a nephew, and you would have thought it was his own kid.
Oh,
Being an uncle's
or
the
an
best.
uncle.
Oh, I love it, dude.
What, your sisters or brothers?
My brother, yeah. So I only have one brother.
You got one brother?
He just had a little boy named Bowen, and he's like 5 months old now.
5 months old.
But I love going over there. So like anytime I'm home from a trip, which is like
Let's go
Nowadays
see
we're gone a
Bowen.
lot, but I always got to pop over there and hang out.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty crazy. Like if we're gone for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks that I won't see him, like he'll be a lot bigger the next time.
You know what's crazy? My nephew is right over there. He works for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just turned 19. We were joking, but I was like, I was there at the hospital when you were born,
Wow.
and he's still not that age that I was when he was born. And I'm like, God dang, I'm old. But and my other nephew came by the other day, brought his bow in, wanted me to look at it, tune it, and stuff. And I was just like, man, I love my nephews. You know, both their moms don't hunt, but I'm the uncle that does, and they're coming over. I like that,
That's
man.
cool,
So
yeah.
that is cool that you can be that to
Yeah,
your nephew
For sure.
and go from there. All right. Well, I want to keep you guys. You have a crazy schedule. Tell me about the next 2 days while you're still here. What are y'all doing?
Well, I believe we're gonna film with Dodds and Josh for a left-handed shoot-off, but me and Josh are both gonna use her bow, so we'll be shooting lefty 25-inch draw, both of us,
I hope my bow
and
survives.
she'll be
is all
shooting, so that'll be fun. And then
Okay.
I think we're gonna try to shoot
Yeah.
like 200 yards maybe. And then I think we're going to film the archery beer pong game and an arrow build. I think that's about what we got left.
Yeah.
That's aggressive.
A lot of
And
stuff.
we've already filmed, I think,
4
7 things
for
so
you?
far between everything.
Yeah.
Because we've done 4 videos for our channel, one video for Tim's. It's actually out. This pod, their pod. So if I think that's 7 things.
This
so
was a good
far.
trip for you. And then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know it is because last time we came up here with Josh, like we hammered out so much stuff.
It's crazy how many little YouTubers are right here. Huh?
It is insane, yeah. You guys have a little like nucleus,
It's cool.
which is cool.
Yeah. It's an honor to meet you guys finally and to
Me too.
actually hang out.
I know, yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is awesome.
Hopefully it's to be continued.
Yeah.
We'll find a way to do something down the road. But I got to go to physical therapy right now, which
100%.
is not fun, by
Yeah.
the way. Have you
Yeah.
ever been to PT?
No, I haven't, thankfully.
No?
I'm gonna be there. I'm on the same knee track as you
Oh,
here. You should hear him when I just do a squat or walk down the stairs. Oh, both of them too. It's rough.
Sounds awful.
It's bad. I think
no.
my
Sounds
mom
like a
had
box
knee
of sand.
replacements at like 37, 40-ish. I'm 33, and they're just bad. Like I come down the mountain sideways
Oh, no.
about 20, 25 minutes like after James, because
Mm-hmm.
downhill is just
The
it's like
worst.
excruciating pain, just like jabbing inside my knee. So we're heading that direction, sadly. Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
dude, thanks so much for having us. I don't want you to be late to that appointment, but we definitely got to grab a little pic for the IG and
Yeah.
fucking keep it moving. But this is awesome. And yeah, like you said, good to finally chat and hang out.
Definitely.
We'll do
All
it
right,
again.
guys. Separations in the preparation. I'll leave a link to their channel in the show notes. We'll catch you on the next one.